Hello and welcome to Slowpoke Racing and to the Ultimate Racing League. This is our Saturday championship in the GR3s. This is the third week of this particular championship, so early days. Just before I get too carried away though, I do want to give a big shout out to our sponsors, and that's w.gg, the energy drink for gamers, and to Eldridge Air Conditioning. Thank you very much, guys, for helping us get these races going and bringing them to you today. Also, want to say a big thank you to Rufus for saving and sharing the replays. Obviously, if nobody did that, then we wouldn't be able to show them to you, would we? So thank you very much to Rufus. So, back to what I was saying, this is week 3. This is the first of 3 15-minute races we've got for you today. And this week, we are in Croatia at the fictional track of Dragon Trail Seaside on the clockwise version. Excuse me, there are quite a few different layouts for this particular track, but we're on the normal one, and this one is probably better known for the Chicane of Death, which we will come on to a little bit later on. If you've never heard of this Chicane of Death, then where have you been? But never mind, doesn't matter. We'll talk you through it when the guys get there. So 3.2 miles and 17 turns on this track. It is quite technical, actually. It looks quite easy, but it's not. It is quite a technical track, very fast flowing track, so I'm expecting some good racing. So without well, I was going to say without further ado, but there is a little bit more of an ado. I know it is only week 3, but I'm just going to quickly go through the top 5 in the league table as they stand out. I do know it's early days, but it doesn't hurt to know who's doing what up at the top. So, in 5th position in the league is Unforgiven on 74 points. Grasshopper is in 4th on 81 points. Fitzy is in 3rd on 91. Stormfly is in 2nd with 100 points. And the real Osman is on 109 points and out in the lead, top of the table at the minute. Now, as I say, it is early days. We've got about another 8 races, including this one, to go, but doesn't hurt to get a quick glimpse of what's going on already. So onwards and upwards with this race. We're not going to do a grid walk, but we will have a quick look down the grid. This is after qualifying, and Fitzy has gone and stuck himself on pole with Stormfly. He's in 2nd, just behind him. Derg is in 3rd, Unforgiven is 4th, Grasshopper is 5th, Rufus is 6th, Brian Moncani 7th, Silly Shot 8th, Peter is 9th, Phaser 10th, Brian the Mechanic 11th, Stealth is 12th, Hawkeye is 13th, and Sid the Sloth is 14th. So one notable absentee is our current league table leader, and that's Osman. So, some valuable points to be had for the likes of Fitzy and Stormfly. Grasshopper as well. He's only 28 points behind Osman. So, yeah, some decent points up for grabs in his absence. So, now it is without further ado, we will get this race underway. Rolling start. And as I've already mentioned, it's a 15-minute race, so it is just a pure sprint race. I think the only tyre rule really is that mediums have to be used in at least one of the races. Yeah, it is just softs and mediums, I believe, so the guys can choose when to use them. I would imagine most of them will be on softs for the opening race, but we'll have a look at the tyres as we go down the grid order as Fitzy leads us through turn 5 into turn 6. The guys get around this track very, very quickly. Stormfly still in 2nd. Derg has moved up to 3rd. Unforgiven 4th. Grasshopper is 5th. Then we've got Brian Moncani. Quite a group of cars now. Pete, Brian the Mechanic, Phaser, Rufus, Stealth in 12th. Hawkeye in 13th and Sid in 14th. So still quite bunched up really as Sid starts to attack Hawkeye as they go through turns 7, 8 and 9. Then we come up the hill, over the brow of it and down again through turn 11 to turn 12, and we'll just go back up to the top. Let's go down a little bit. Brian Moncani as the guys just enter the Chicane of Death, and hopefully it won't claim any victims, although I've just seen somebody just have a slight bump of the barrier as they came out the exit of that turn, but everybody's still going. But it does look like everybody's got through as Sid makes the move on Hawkeye and moves up into 13th, so good move from Sid there in the Supra. So back up to the top, and Fitzy across the start finish line, and already up to the first of the chicanes. So this track basically one big triangle, couple of chicanes in there, and 3 hairpins, and Fitzy has just gone through the first of the chicanes, up through turn 5 into turn 6, which is the first of the hairpins now. His tight right hand up, being very careful on that exit. You don't want to get too far on the grass, but Fitzy making it look very easy. Then we go down the hill, and we're through turn 7, 8 and 9, waving at the crowds on the right, few camping out on the left, and then it's up the hill through turns 10 and 11, and then we start on down the hill again. Now I'm going to jump on board with Fitzy, and we're going to get a look at this chicane of death as he goes around turn 12. Again, you don't want to drift too far out onto the left, trying to get the power down early, but you've got to be controlled with it. And then we're into this chicane, and you can see we've got the wall on the right, then the left, then the right, and then another wall on the exit. But Fitzy made that look very easy, didn't he? It's not, but he made it look easy. Stormfly, he made it through as well. Then Unforgiven, he's now up into 3rd. Well, what's happened to Dirk? He's dropped down a couple of places, just behind Pete now. So we've got Brian Moncani and Pete. I think I'm right in saying we've got 3 Belgian drivers on track today. Stormfly, I believe Stormfly is Dutch. Now tell me if I'm wrong. I'm not overly fantastic with flags, but I do believe that's a Dutch flag. So yeah, multinational track today. Stormfly chasing some pretty valuable points. He could top the table if he gets himself in on the podium in any of the 3 races today. With the absence of Osman, well, Osman might be back for the next 2 races. Who knows? So Stormfly really needs to keep his position in P2, maybe even take P1 away from Fitzy, get some valuable points on the board for Stormfly. Same with Fitzy though. Fitzy sitting currently in 3rd. He's what is he? He's only, I can't work it out, 20 points or something like that behind Osman. No, I think you get 20 points for a win. I did have it written down somewhere. Yes, you do. You get 20 points for a win. So if Fitzy can hold on to this, it's not going to do him any harm at all, is it? So let's just go down the order as Brian Moncani goes through the chicane of death. Then we've got Pete and Dirk battling it out. Grasshopper, oh, it's Grasshopper just has a bit of a side swipe of that barrier on the exit. Still going though. Silly Shot in 8th, Phaser in 9th, Stealth down in 10th. Few gaps starting to open up now at the back. Hawkeye 11th, Rufus is 12th. Then we've got Sid the Sloth. I'm not sure if Sid's just had a bit of a bump with the barrier. And then we've got Brian the Mechanic. Well, I'm not sure what's happened to Brian. We'll just see if we can go back a little bit. No, it must have been well before that. So Brian the Mechanic's obviously had a bit of an issue. Oh, as that Lamborghini gets all out of shape on the exit of that chicane. So he's got some catching up to do now, but up to the top it's Fitzy with Stormfly chasing, and then Unforgiven in 3rd. Unforgiven having a great race so far. We'll jump on board with Unforgiven as we go down the hill towards turn 7. You can see all the crowds there. Got a great view, haven't they, on the right hand side in that stand. And then they start on up the hill through turns 8, 9 and 10, and you can just see 11 there. Can't really see the other side until you're over it, but then you're looking at the cruise ship that brought all the crowds in. Unforgiven, he's got his yacht somewhere in that little bay on the left. Well, most of the drivers have got the boats out there, to be honest, but Unforgiven's is the big one. if you catch a glimpse of it. Into the chicane goes Unforgiven. If we look in the mirror, we can just see Brian McCartney chasing us down. Oh, it's Unforgiven. I think he may have had a bit of a swipe at the barrier, but he survived it. May have cost him a tenth or two. Let's have a look. Brian, I think Brian is definitely catching in the Porsche. Brian doing well in that Porsche, actually. It's not the easiest of cars to handle these days. Somebody at PD has been tweaking it and having a bit of a play around with it, and a bloody nightmare to drive. Excuse my language there, shall we say. Derg in 5th then in the GTR. Now I'm not sure all of the livery has come through to these cars. Derg usually has a lot more stickers on his car than he's got there. Pete in 6th with Grasshopper down in 7th. Not as far up the table as I thought he might be, actually, so maybe the NSX is not really well suited to this track. Try and find a bit of a battle, shall we? Silly Shot. Oh, the back end of that BMW has just put in a massive complaint that Silly Shot managed to catch it, and he's still facing the right way, but that has allowed Phaser to catch up a lot closer to him. Phaser sitting in 9th. Stealth, he's also in a Porsche as well, and I do like that livery. I've said this before, it's just plain but fantastic looking livery. Well, I think so anyway, on Stealth's car. Around turn 12 they go then, as Stealth is trying to catch up to the back of Phaser and Silly Shot so he can put a bit more pressure on them. Into the chicane they go for the 5th time. We have just gone past 8 minutes, so about 7 minutes to go. Let's just drop down and have a look. Rufus, he's also in the BMW, the Sprint I believe it is. Hawkeye in the McLaren. A nice looking livery as well for Hawkeye. Brian the Mechanic in 13th, and then Sid in 14th. Back up at the top though, Fitzy still doing a fantastic job of staying in P1. He's got a couple of car length gap back to Stormfly. Stormfly, well, I think he'll be pleased with this. He'll sit in second, he'll take second if you give it to him, I'm sure, at the beginning of the race. As I say, without Osman being on track, valuable points for Stormfly. I think it's about 17 points for coming in P2, which would currently, that would take him ahead of Osman. And well, Fitzy, I think Fitzy would overtake Osman as well. So or would he? Well, I don't know. I'm not even, my brain hurts. I'm not going to try and work it out. But these two starting to pull away from the rest of the pack. Unforgiven in 3rd. He's having a bit of a lonely race. He's Unforgiven. I'm sure he won't mind. He's currently sitting in 3rd. Oh, and I think Stormfly's just had a bit of an issue. Let's just go back and we'll follow, we'll get the drone out and we'll follow Stormfly. We've got Fitzy up ahead of us just as we enter the chicane of death, and this is why it's called the chicane of death. Oh, and he did, yes. He's at the back end. If you have a look at this, we'll just watch it one more time, but if you have a look, the back end of Stormfly's McLaren just caught the left-hand barrier on the exit of this chicane. So there, that then threw the car over to the right, slammed into that one. Not what Stormfly wanted at all. Now that has allowed Unforgiven to get right up and even take the spot away from him. Let's just have a look. Is there any damage? Well, there's no damage on Stormfly's car. He's probably just shook up a little bit. Having a word with his mechanics over the airwaves, explaining what's happened and telling him if there's any damage to the car, but he's still going. Unforgiven though took full advantage and pushed on through and into P2, so now there's going to be a battle now between these two. Now, I was just saying about Stormfly picking up some fantastic points. That little slam into the barrier has cost him a couple of points if it stays as it is, and Unforgiven, well, he'll say thank you very much, and he'll take the 17 points if they stay this way. So Stormfly has now got a battle on his hands if he wants to get by Unforgiven, who I know will defend for the next 5 minutes. Brian Moncani in fourth, having a fantastic race is Brian in that Porsche, and I know that is just stock livery, isn't it? So hopefully the livery will get itself all sorted out, ready for race 2. But Brian doing a good job so far in P4, Derg into P5. Oh, it's Derg playing with the barrier there. I'm surprised the wing mirror stayed on. These GTRs are a lot tougher than you think they are. Wow. But I do need to have a look. Is everybody going full throttle through this chicane of death? I know I can't do it, but Grasshopper goes through successfully. So does Pete. Silly Shot in 8th. Then we've got Phaser. Oh, and Rufus. Rufus is starting to put the challenge in against Phaser now. Then, did Phaser have a bit of an issue with the barrier? Is that why Rufus caught him up all of a sudden? Let's have a look and see what's happened to Phaser. No, he did. He got through there successfully. Maybe just had to slam the brakes on to stop himself hitting the wall. But Phaser has lost a position to Rufus. So now he's got to fight to get P9 back. So Rufus did well actually not to run into the back of Phaser as they came out of that chicane. We're at, I'm just having a look at the time now. We're just coming up to the 12-minute mark. So 3 minutes to go. And we're going to go back up and have a look and see how our race leader is getting on. Fitzy, well, he's looking comfortable now, isn't he? He can back off a little bit. Currently got the fastest lap of 136.5, and well, that's consistency for you. Look, the last 4 laps have all been in the 36s, and that's how you win races, ladies and gentlemen. Consistency, and Fitzy's making it look very easy, isn't he? Unforgiven still in P2, although Stormfly is all over the back of him now as we jump on board with Stormfly and going into the chicane. Obviously he's not going to try and make any moves in the chicane, but that bump he had will be playing on his mind. It always does as you approach that exit, especially after a bump. Oh, as he goes up the inside, I thought Unforgiven had just left so much room then, and Stormfly definitely had a look, didn't he? Just backed out at the very last minute as Unforgiven started to turn into that corner, but I really thought Unforgiven had left too much room. And Stormfly, well, you can't give him too many opportunities like that. If Unforgiven does that again, then I'm sure Stormfly will not be as forgiving next time, and it's literally all over the back of him. If we jump on board with Unforgiven and have a look out the back window, that is what we are looking at as we go through turns 5 and then 6, as Stormfly gets right up underneath and has a good sniff of the rear end of Unforgiven's BMW. Down the hill then through turns 7, 8 and 9, and then we start back up the hill, the climb towards turn 11. So through turn 10 we go. Stormfly still sitting on Unforgiven's tail over the brow of the hill through turn 11, and then down Unforgiven. There you can just see his boat out there in the sea just in front of the cruise ship. And then we're up to the chicane of death again, and we're just going to stick with Unforgiven as we go through here. Stormfly practically pushing him along, and that's going to be on Unforgiven's mind. Oh, and he slammed into the wall. Oh, the pressure just got to him. The pressure from Stormfly was just too much. Unforgiven doing a great job of holding him off up to this point. Has a bit of a kiss with a barrier there, and then another big smacker on the exit. And Stormfly goes storming past. Gotta say it, haven't I? Sorry. So it is as we were at the beginning of this race then, with Fitzy out in front looking very comfortable. Stormfly in P2. Unforgiven is third. He's got Brian Moncani all over the back of him now with Dirk. He's creeping up. So this could be quite a finish. We've got about 10 seconds, so I'm going to go down and have a look and see who is going to be finishing this race first. I think Grasshopper and Pete may well get another lap in. Yes, they will. So Silly Shot, I think he's going to be the first person to finish this race. He's in 8th. Oh, as Rufus gets it all wrong on the exit of turn 17 as Silly Shot crosses the line in 8th. Phaser's going to be 9th. Stealth is going to be 10th. Let's just go back and have a look at what happened to Rufus up to turn 17, and he just couldn't get that car slowed down, I don't think. And across the grass he went, and that was unlucky for Rufus. But Rufus crosses in 11th, Hawkeye 12th, Brian the Mechanic 13th, Sid's going to come across the line in 14th, although he's got Fitzy just about ready to lap him. Fitzy coming around turn 12. Sid's going to let him by, I'm sure, before they get to the chicane. You do not want to be going side by side through there. So our race leader and soon to be winner, Fitzy, just taking his time now. You can see the last couple of laps have been in the 37s, and why not? There's no need for him to push too hard, is there? So we'll follow Fitzy around turn 17 onto the start finish straight. So you can see the checkered flag. Great win for Fitzy, led from the front from the start, and never really looked back, did he? Well done to him. So Fitzy finishes in first, race winner, well done to him. Stormflight, he takes second. Derg has managed to get third, Brian Moncani fourth, and Unforgiven fifth. Well, what's happened to Unforgiven? Let's I'm going to go back and have a look. Now then, Unforgiven had that issue with the chicane which allowed Stormflight through into P2. Now, did he have another one? Oh, he did. He just caught the exit again. So that's Unforgiven. He was having a fantastic race up to that point. What a shame for Unforgiven, but that allowed Derg through and Brian Moncani. Now, did Derg finish third? I think he did. As they raced towards the line, they did. Derg got third, Brian Moncani fourth, Unforgiven. Well, what a shame. What a way to end a race. He still gets fifth, Grasshopper sixth, and Pete 7th. So the chicane of death claiming quite a few victims already in race 1. I hope you can join me very shortly for race 2.